What's up, you guys? It's Victoria from Under Victoria's Spell, and in today's video I am doing the book recommendations tag. Nikki from Nikki and Bookland tagged me in this, so of course I had to do this tag, and I'm so excited to talk about some of my favorite books, so let's hop right into it. Okay, so question number one is a book that you tell people is your favorite. And I feel like if someone is new to romance, like I'm not gonna go like too taboo. So I'm gonna keep it like light. So I'm gonna have to go with Agatar. I feel like that's like kind of safe. It's fantasy and you know, it's a whole world. It's kind of like an adult version of Harry Potter, but better, you know? So I have to go with the whole Agatar series. It's so good. It's so like you just fall into this world and you just never want to leave it. There's something in it for everyone. It's amazing. It's Harry Potter on crack. So good. I definitely tell people this is my favorite. I would recommend it to anyone who is looking for romance, but also could be a little bit of a beginner in romance as well, because it has that heavy fantasy element to it as well. So you kind of get both there. So I think that's a good place to start, and it's so good. You are definitely not going to want to put it down. Okay, and question number two is a book that is my guilty pleasure, and this is not going to be a surprise, but Broken Bonds by Jay Bree is my guilty pleasure read. It is good, it is juicy, you either hate it or you love it, and I loved it. So good. This is a poly romance, why choose, reverse harem, fantasy. So good. This is a 6-book series, I believe, and I ate every single one of them up. So binge worthy. It's amazing. And the reason I feel like it's a guilty pleasure is because no, it's not like the best romance that's ever been written, but it is just so juicy and angsty, and you are just so annoyed with the characters, but you love them. So you have to just keep reading every book until you get to the end of each of their stories. So I absolutely love this series. I talk about it all the time, and it is definitely my guilty pleasure. Okay, and the next question is a book that everyone loved that you didn't. And this is a love letter to whiskey by Candy Steiner. Everyone absolutely loves this book, and it just was not the right one for me. I just thought that it was too toxic, and I just could not believe that these characters needed to be together at the end. It follows our hero and heroine all the way from high school to college to adulthood. And I just did not think, after everything that they had been through, that they would or should end up together. So everyone talked so highly of this book, and it was one of my most anticipated reads of last year, and it just failed for me. So that is definitely one of those books. Okay, and question number four is a book that I read the fastest, and that has to be Powerless by Elsie Silver. I was so excited for this release because I love the friends to lovers trope. So I knew that this was like highly anticipated for me. The cover was stunning, and I was really intrigued by Jasper's character. So I was so excited to get to this. I think I read this in like 2 or 3 days, which is pretty fast for me. And I devoured this book. I absolutely loved this romance. It was a 5-star read for me. Like I said, childhood friends to lovers, and I love their banter. I love this entire family. This whole entire series really is just amazing. But I definitely devoured this in under 3 days, and I just could not wait to see Jasper's happy ending and see him grow over time. And question number 5 is a book that I think deserves more hype And I had to go with another favorite, and that's Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. I feel like so many people talk about, of course, Devney Perry in this series, but not this one specifically. And I feel like this one is so underrated, and I just love it. It's romantic suspense. It's like a boss babe hero or heroine, and I just love that she is like the new sheriff in town, and she is investigating this suspicious activity and murders that's been going on. And she just has this southern man after her heart, and it is just so good. I ate it up, and I think this is one of my favorites by Devney Perry, and I definitely think more people should read this one for sure. Okay, and number 6 is a book that is becoming a movie or a TV show, and this one was just recently announced, so this one is so exciting, and that's Praise by Sarah Kay. As you know, one of my favorite books, and it is becoming a movie. Praise is becoming a movie. I cannot wait to see it come to the big screen, who they're going to pick for Emerson and Charlie, how they're going to bring the salacious world to the big screen. I am so excited. I'm so happy for Sarah Kay. She deserves this. And it's going to be a female director as well, which is amazing. We love to promote females in very male-dominated businesses. So I am so happy for this announcement, and I cannot wait to see the movie and just some more salacious players, of course. The next question is a book that I have reread the most, and I have to go nostalgic for this one, and that is A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. This was my high school, college, and even now favorite romance, and it's something I can reread, listen to on audio, and it just gives me the same feeling every single time that I read it. It's just such a comfort read for me. I have probably read this book at least 7 or 8 times. It is so good. The movie is amazing, of course, and it is just one of those early 2000 reads that I just couldn't imagine not having on my romance journey, and I know that I will probably read it so many more times within my life. But it's so good because it's that definition of a high school romance where it's, you know, nerdy girl gets the bad boy, but it has a certain twist to it, and it's so good. It is just like a warm hug, to be honest with you. So that is definitely the book that I have reread the most. Okay, and the next question is a book from a genre you don't really read or typically read. And I'm kind of going to cheat on this one, and I'm going to do like a subgenre, and I'm going to do like music because I don't read a lot of like musician romances, and I'm going to go with The Words by Ashley Jade because this book definitely deserves the hype, and I normally hate romances with musicians. I just don't understand the hype of it, but after reading this one, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to try some more romances with some musical elements. But yes, this is definitely a book that got me to try out that subgenre a little bit more. It is a high school's enemies to friends to kind of lovers, back to enemies, back to lovers, and a workplace romance, and it is a hot mess. But let me just tell you, you are going to be glued to that book until the very end because you are just going to be addicted to these characters and what is going on with them, and you just can't get enough. So this is definitely something that took me way by surprise, and you definitely should read it if you don't normally read this subgenre. Okay, and question number 9 is a book that deserves all the hype, and this is literally not going to be a surprise. And that's Heartless by Elsie Silver. This truly is like God tier in reading romance. It's a nanny romance. It's small town. It's spicy. It's just grumpy hero, sunshine heroine. It's just literally everything you could want in a romance and so much more. And I definitely think that if there's someone that has not liked this book, they need to reread it because it really is so good, because not only do you have the romance elements that, yes, is amazing, you also get that emotional depth of a young woman who is growing and trying to figure out her life. And you also get a man who has had some really hard things happen in his life, and he's learning how to love and forgive and move on. So I think that there's so many elements other than the romance that you can take from this story, and it is so good. It is definitely worth the hype. If you have not picked it up yet, I mean, literally, you're probably the last person on earth that has not read this book, and you definitely should. So good. Okay, and question number 10 is a book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. And I feel like this is hard because I always do like a follow-up question of like, what type of, book are you looking for? Like, if it's specifically romance, and what type of romance? Like, are you trying to go like light, like funny, lighthearted, super spicy, super taboo, dark? Do you want to be crying? There's so many options. But truly, I do try to stick with some small town romances because I feel like you get so much out of those because there's a lot of things. There's the angst, there's the emotion, there's the lightheartedness. So I definitely stick to small town romance. I definitely always suggest Elsie Silver as an author, not specifically Heartless. And I also suggest Stephanie Terry as an author as well, not specifically Indigo Ridge, because I really don't want someone to like really recommend a book and not like it. So I go with the author that has really great standalones. That way you can find something that you enjoy out of that author, because I like when an author has a series and they can be read as standalones, because you are going to find something different with each and every one of them, and I love that. So kind of cheating with that one, but I'm gonna stick with it. Okay, and question number 11 is a book that has your favorite characters. And I'm gonna go with the Agatar World, Love Sand, Cassian, Amren, Morgan, and Feyre. I mean, I literally love all of them. They are just someone I could see like having a really good time with, having that banter, and just enjoying the time that we get to spend together, and just, always be smiling. So definitely that's the book series that has my favorite characters in them. Question number 12 is a book you wish you could live in, and I'm gonna follow up with the answer before, and that's the Agatar World, Valaris, the City of Starlight. Like, hello. That is obviously better be everyone's answer that has read the series. Who does not want to see the beautiful Valaris? Like, how it is spoken in that world is just like a dream. And I sit and I think about that sometimes. I'm just like, gosh, I would love for a night in Valaris. So I'm gonna go with that one. And if that is not your answer, I'm gonna need you to really explain why it's not Valaris. The next question is a book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. And I'm gonna go with The Words by Ashley Jade. I really had low expectations when I went into that book, and I was like, this is just not the type of book that I like to read. I do not like rock star romances. I'm not interested. And let me just tell you, I was truly blown away by that book, and I'm honestly gonna go ahead and take that for my question number 14 with a book that made you cry. I'm gonna go with The Words for that one too, because it really blew me away, and I sobbed in that book. And when I tell you I was so shocked by this book, I really was. The emotional depth and growth that these characters went through just shattered my heart and kind of put me back together, kind of did at the same time. It was such a beautiful story, and I'm so glad that I finally did decide to pick it up. And I'm so glad that other booktubers that I watched really pushed the recommendation, because if not, I probably would have put it on the back burner to never be picked up. So I'm going to use that for question 13 and 14 for a book that I thought I would hate and a book that made me cry, because blew me away. Amazing. Love it. Okay, and the final question is a book that you wish you could read for the first time. And I feel like this is like picking your favorite child, honestly, because to experience one of your favorite books again for the first time, that is just so hard to pick, because there's 100 on my list that I would love to relive again. And gosh, this is so hard for me to pick. I think that there's probably more certain scenes in books that I would love to reread for the first time more than anything. Like, my childhood self definitely would have said Twilight and, you know, Hunger Games, because that's what I was obsessed with. And my adult self definitely wants to say Agatar. Like, I want to experience that in a whole new lot. And I just don't think that I could pick one, because I know over the course of my life, I'm going to have so many books that I want to reread for the first time. It's just too hard. Definitely like picking a favorite child. But I'm gonna stick to series of my fantasy series. I picked all fantasy, so. But yeah, I'm gonna stick for my adult self, the Agatar series, to just hear that again for the first time and just appreciate it in a different light. I'm gonna go with that. And that's all that I have for today, guys. I'm sorry if this video was a little all over the place. I've been at work all day. My dog has been a hot mess, so I feel a little all over the place, but it was nice to sit down and just talk about books that I love. So I really hope that you all enjoyed today's video. Tell me your answers down below. I would love to know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.